Toxic spills are nothing new to Metro Detroit, from the green ooze that leaked onto I-696 to the benzene scare in Flat Rock and PFAS on our waterways. Michigan has 90 so-called Superfund sites, locations so polluted that the federal government has had to get involved to help contain the toxins or clean them up. 7 Action News reporter Kimberly Craig going in depth tonight on the growing calls to hold corporations accountable.
There needs to be much more sort of pulling the dark curtains away from these companies and seeing exactly what's going on in each and every facility.
It's hard to forget the green ooze that spilled onto 696, the toxic contamination that was traced to a business in Madison Heights. And it seems we're learning more and more about contamination concerns tied to companies that either knew what they were doing was bad or didn't know enough to realize that Mother Nature could not erase what they were dumping.
It is that way because science and technology have advanced. So what was thought or what was unknown about problems of contamination, contaminants, chemicals, are now known to be a hazard.
Lisa Wozniak is executive director for the Michigan League of Conservation Voters.
At the federal level, we've allowed literally thousands of chemicals to be permitted for use into our environment over the last many decades, and almost none of them have been tested for implications for human health.
This week it was discovered that Tri-Bar's facility in Wixom released into the Huron River thousands of gallons of a liquid containing a cancer-causing chemical. And last fall in Waterford, investigators with the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy collected water samples testing for PFAS that may have come from the use of foam at the nearby airport.
PFAS are everywhere. There's no way to completely avoid PFAS exposure.
U of M Associate Professor Sung Kyung Park has studied PFAS and found that high concentrations of the man-made chemicals in our blood are linked to a number of health issues, including the increased risk of diabetes in middle-aged women. A blood test by your doctor can reveal the amount of PFAS in you.
Once we expose to these PFAS, it's very difficult to get this chemical out of the body. So stay in our body for several years, sometimes much longer than that.
The United States Government Accountability Office warns that climate change can also cause natural disasters like flooding to also affect what's called Superfund sites, locations around the country and here in Michigan that are home to some of the worst hazardous waste sites.
If you have massive flooding, the question is it possible for the flood to dislocate a containment cap, for example, that then allows the contamination to spread.
And environmental watchdogs say there must be steeper penalties for any company that breaks the law.
Toxins in our environment are causing horrific health impacts. I think starting at the federal level with the allowance of all these thousands of chemicals to be permitted for use is the place where we started. And now we're on the receiving end of this decades later, and we need to take strong action now to address actions, protections to make sure that the people of Michigan are safe.
Kimberly Craig, 7 Action News.
So very important. Thank you, Kim.